Let's bring in senior political analyst and anchor John Avalon, CNN political commentator SC Cupp, and the host of Can We Please Talk, Mike Leon. Guys, thanks so much for joining us this morning. The threat, the kind of scorched earth we've seen from Trump, which was totally expected and completely telegraphed, but the idea, I think the truth, is that what we call it? We call it truth bomb. Truth bomb, yes, that's the proper terminology. Anybody that makes a contribution to bird brain from this moment forth will be permanently barred from the MAGA camp. Hardball politics is not rare. Behind the scenes, people say, if you donate to somebody, we're not going to help you. But this is just out in the open and full-blown war.
Yeah, and getting kicked out of the club, right? The club has currency. The club is important for the Republican Party. If you want a future in the Republican Party and you don't want to be Adam Kinzinger or Liz Cheney looking in from the outside at some point, you want to stay in the club. However, if you had principles, if you meant what you said, Tim Scott, when you said we could choose grievance or greatness, if you meant that, you could say, listen, I'm not endorsing this. I think it's time to move on and kind of take your chances. No one wants to lose. No one wants to lose their job. And it's so craven and small. But that's where the Republican Party's at right now.
I wonder what you think, Mike, because, she hasn't spent the money in South Carolina that she's spent in New Hampshire, but she's spending money there. Yeah. She talked about raising $1 million since New Hampshire, largely from donors under $200. And it's not like DeSantis, where she has a job she needs to get back to, per se, running a state.
Right. My state, the state where I live in. It's so interesting that you say that, Poppy, because here's the big rub for Nikki Haley right now. And I talked to somebody familiar with her campaign thinking, it's that they haven't spent the money, like you said, in South Carolina. They put all the chips into the New Hampshire basket. So all of the spending, all of the email blasts, the campaigns, the mail-in, all of that stuff that they did in New Hampshire, they haven't started to do in other states. So they feel that they can have some momentum going into South Carolina, like you said.
Like if we spend...
they just spent $4 million on an ad buy in South Carolina that started yesterday. They're spending money. They're serious about South Carolina. They're serious about Michigan. I talked to the campaign yesterday. This is real for them, and it's not just because they want to win. It's because every time you see that Trump has not coalesced the party, that 40% of people in New Hampshire voted for someone else, that 49% of people in Iowa picked someone other than Trump, that means she lives another day and gives hope to all the Trump alternative voters.
But that's exactly
and look, I think the underlying issue here is that, first of all, our analysis, I think, about the primaries was a little bit off from the beginning, which is that Trump was an incumbent, right? Even though it was a crowded field. Now, Nikki Haley has a two-person race, and you can see she's liberated by that, right?
Yeah.
It's not only the campaigning has made her better, but she's actually taken punches at Trump, which I think all the candidates should have been doing from much earlier on, not named Chris Christie. May his campaign rest in peace. And now I think the challenge is getting a win in South Carolina is going to be tough for Nikki Haley. That's why she's sending the message about open primaries. And in return, you get that retribution from Donald Trump, those cult-like tactics that say, if you don't rally around us now, we'll punish you then. But she's got to have the courage of her convictions and realize that the party is divided over Donald Trump, and so she can coalesce that, and she should try.
Yes.
But just to that point, look, guys, we all just watched that package. There's a woman there that said she may have been influenced, or she's worried about other voters being influenced. We just watched in a state where 40% are undeclared. 40% are undeclared.
Yeah, it was the most favorable terrain.
Exactly.
Right.
The most favorable terrain. That is so well said, Poppy. And that's the issue. Literally,
I got your words out at 6:10 in the morning.
Exactly. That is the biggest issue, because now you go to more conservative leaning states. You're not going to make it to Super Tuesday. If you can't win the state where it's kind of a layup, in essence, how are you going to win?
$1 million small donors in the wake of New Hampshire is not nothing. That's a sign of grassroots support and people showing up for it. That's not, just big donors trying to prop it up. So that's a sign that there's oxygen, that there's a supply and a demand for this campaign.
And the woman who you're referencing, the perception that it's over, I mean, I feel like the media plays into that too. When we sit here and we say it's over, or, she can't win in New Hampshire, she can't win anywhere else. Well, she has made a convincing case that enough Republican, moderate, independent voters want someone else. There's an audience for her. If there weren't, she wouldn't have the money. She wouldn't have the runway. She wouldn't have the momentum. There's a buyer for Nikki Haley still. Just because we're telling her it's over, she's supposed to say to all of those buyers, sorry, I'm leaving. You got to choose.
I'm going to be the latest person to go kiss the ring and take the knee, which is what Republicans do, which is why we're in this mess today.
I'm not telling her it's over. I'm saying, as everybody knows, John Kasich is a perfect example, another famous John. You go 2016, you go to Ohio, you win the state where you were the governor. If she can't win that, what happens on February 25th? What's the conversation like on February 25th? Do you wait until March to Super Tuesday to March 5th after losing South Carolina?
Gambit that she's going to be embarrassed in South Carolina. If she's got nothing to lose and she still has buyers, so what? She can keep going for a growing audience, an audience that might grow if every time there's a primary they see, well, actually the party isn't coalesced around Trump. Actually, that's not true. That's a narrative. That's his spin, and by the way, Joe Biden's spin, because it's beneficial to Joe Biden to get Nikki out of the race. He wants to face Trump.
I mean, the polling shows that.
Can I dive in a little bit on this, though? Because to your point, campaigns in when they can't finance themselves. If she's still raising, she can go into Super Tuesday. There's no question. But what she did last night was a very kind of balanced approach to not going full light the world on fire, but lay some attacks down that people hadn't been laying in the past. There's usually one or the other. Like the Rubio, I'm about to lose, so I'm just going to say all the things about Trump, and then eventually go kiss the ring, and then endorse him, and endorse him again, and endorse him again. And inevitably, they end up losing and kissing the ring. She has a balanced approach last night, which I thought was actually pretty effective.
Yes.
But is it? What I think isn't going to carry the day.
Well, no, but I think it is, right?
Obviously.
Look, first of all, I think the contrast to that ritualistic humiliation cycle that, that Republicans put themselves through is refreshing. Yeah, it's pathetic. And it's groveling. But I think the contrast is standing on a stage with a sense of humor and showing that you could be a happy warrior and take the fight to him, but not doing it necessarily, how do you de-radicalize somebody? I think this is an important concept to remind people, right? You need to create a clear alternative and remind people of what their original values were. Sometimes the direct attacks can backfire because people are so invested in they losing face when they admit they've been wrong. Nikki Haley's showing some swagger on the stage. That's helpful. You always want to be a happy warrior in politics. And I think the broader message is you need to build a broad coalition to defend democracy right now. Nikki Haley's making that pitch. Democrats are going to make that pitch because it's about independents and moderates at the end of the day. And Donald Trump repels them, rightly.
Well, and maybe one of the only people that can sort of sidestep the great emasculation of the GOP by Donald Trump is a woman. Maybe, just maybe, Nikki Haley has more balls than the rest of them.
Title of your next book, Essie?
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Oh, that's good. I want to keep this going, but I kind of also want to end it there. Essie, Mike, John, thanks, guys, very much. Well, Benjamin Netanyahu